Okay, let's get into it. Welcome to the deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're immersing ourselves in a piece of literature that has, it's just taken the world by storm. The novel is Rituals of Belonging by Albert Huddy.
And our mission for you right now is to really go beyond just, the bestseller lists.
Right.
We want to pull out the core insights this book has about identity, about belonging, and these unspoken rules. And to figure out why it's resonated so deeply with so many people so fast.
When we say it struck a nerve, we really mean it. This isn't just a story you read.
Right.
It feels more like an experience. The feedback from readers everywhere, it's like the author managed to bottle a feeling that so many of us thought was, just our own.
And that feeling, that power, it comes from what we'd call lived truth.
Lived truth. Yeah.
Albert Huddy isn't just imagining this. He's not writing from theory. He's writing from the trenches. He's an immigrant who lived these
A
struggles.
constant awareness of your accent, for instance.
Exactly. Or your name being unfamiliar. That quiet sort of weight of never fully blending in no matter how hard you try, it gives the book this incredible sincerity.
You can really feel that sincerity on the page. The sources we looked at noted that in just 2 months, this book is already in 3 other major languages.
And demand is still growing.
That kind of speed, it tells you the story is tapping into something much bigger, right? Something universal.
Precisely. And that something is the mechanism we really need to focus on. It's the core nugget of knowledge the book gives you. Hadi's protagonists, their journey, it explains what we can call the identity filter.
The identity filter. Okay, so let's dig into that. We need to explain not just the idea, but the feeling of it, how the writing makes it so immediate.
Right. The book is built to make you, as the reader, feel that constant pressure of being measured before you even open your mouth.
Okay.
The filter is what happens when, say, a minority identity enters a majority space. And Hadi breaks down how that prejudgment works. It's like this automatic 3-step process.
So walk us through those steps. What's the first one?
It starts with the most obvious thing. Step 1. Before you speak, people are already listening to your accent, or maybe the lack of one.
Right. Is it heavy? Is it regional? Are they trying too hard to hide it?
That's the first data point. Then, step 2. Before you can even introduce yourself, they see your name. And names that are unfamiliar to the dominant culture, they carry so much weight, often misleading weight.
And the third step.
Yeah.
That's the one that feels like it just erases the person.
It does. Step 3 is, before you can tell your story, your actual nuanced history, people assume your background based on those first 2 signals. They've already put you in a box.
So the rest of the conversation is just you trying to climb out of that box.
Exactly. The emotional labor starts right there because you realize you have to spend all your energy just dismantling the assumptions that filter has already built. It's exhausting.
And what our sources loved is how the novel shows this without ever, preaching. It's not telling you what to think.
No, it's just showing you how unconscious bias works. It's the machinery of it.
And that's such a key distinction. The book doesn't just describe the filter. It makes you watch the main character self-edit.
Yes.
In real time.
Yes, that's self-editing. That's the bridge to our next point, which is the pressure of all these unspoken rules.
Right, so if the identity filter is the diagnosis, how society sees you.
And navigating the unspoken rules is the survival tactic, the painful one.
We've all been there, right? You walk into a room and you know the rules exist, even if you can't name them.
But this book gives them a name. It gives a voice to that truth so many people feel, that to belong, you have to put on this subtle, constant performance.
A performance of what, exactly?
Of assimilation. The book details these pressures, like the need to soften your voice, maybe, or to adjust your personality, to hide parts of who you are, the parts that make you.
Yeah.
All just to fit in.
It sounds like a zero-sum game, almost. You gain acceptance, but you lose a piece of yourself.
In many ways, yeah. The novel frames it as this constant drain. These spoken rules require you to code switch, not just your language, but your sense of humor, your cultural references, even how you talk about your ambitions.
Can you give us an example of one of those rules from the book?
Sure. There's a recurring theme about downplaying your success if it comes from outside the accepted norm.
Oh, interesting.
A character does something brilliant, but they feel this pressure to present it as, no big deal, something that was easy. Because explaining the real complex effort behind it from their non-traditional background would just make them seem, even more different.
So it's not just about fitting in physically. It's about performing a kind of emotional and intellectual conformity.
Exactly. The struggle is almost entirely internal, but Hadi makes it feel so strikingly real. You're not watching characters fight some big dramatic crisis.
No, it's 1,000 tiny cuts, 1,000 daily compromises.
And that's why the characters feel so relatable. They're shaped by exile, expectation, and this really quiet resilience. They aren't superheroes.
They're just trying not to disappear.
Yes, trying not to be flattened into a stereotype inside a world that, frankly, was never designed to hold their whole, complete identity.
The heroism is just in the persistence then, the sheer effort of it.
Absolutely. Think about the mental toll. Every time you need someone, it's like a performance review. Did I pass the normalcy test this time? The characters who do succeed, they're just the best at self-editing, but it costs them so much.
Okay, so we've talked about the author, the identity filter, these unspoken rules. Now let's make that crucial transition. What does this all mean for the person listening right now?
Mhm.
We focused a lot on the immigrant experience, but why should you care even if you've never felt like an outsider in that specific way?
Well, this is where the book's appeal just explodes beyond that narrative, because fundamentally it's for anyone who has ever felt unseen or misunderstood or judged before they even got a chance to speak.
And suddenly that's a much, much bigger audience.
It's a universal one. It doesn't require a passport. It just requires difference.
So,
Yeah.
walking into a new job, for example.
A new job, or going back home after being away for years and feeling out of step, or even just joining a new social circle where your background or your education or your accent suddenly makes you feel other.
It's that moment you walk into a room and you instantly feel smaller, quieter.
Yes, that feeling, that urge to minimize parts of yourself. The book validates that feeling for millions of people. Reading it feels like someone finally put your internal experience on paper, even if the character's life looks nothing like yours.
So, in a way, we're all outsiders at some point. The novel just gives us the language for it. The identity filter helps us understand why we feel that disconnect.
And it stops you from blaming yourself. So many people in that situation think, oh, if only I were smoother, or if I was just more articulate. But the novel flips that. It suggests the problem isn't your performance. It's the audience's expectation for a filtered, simpler version of you.
Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway. This is what all our sources kept coming back to. The novel is this profound reminder that real belonging, it shouldn't require you to erase yourself.
That is the heart of it. That's why this book is so much more than a novel. It's a mirror.
A mirror and maybe a toolkit.
Yes, a toolkit. It forces you, no matter who you are, to look at the little rituals of self-erasure you perform every day, probably without even thinking about it.
And on the flip side, it forces the majority to see the filters they're applying to other people. It's like an instruction manual on how not to simplify the human being in front of you.
Exactly. The final message, the anchor of the whole thing, is so simple, but so hard to do. Real belonging begins the moment you stop apologizing for who you are.
Stop apologizing for your name, your accent.
Your background,
Yeah.
your story,
Yeah.
all the complex things that make you you.
Mm.
That final act of self-acceptance is the real emotional payoff of the book. It touches a place inside us that most stories are just too afraid to go near.
Okay, so to quickly recap our deep dive here, Rituals of Belonging shows us the hidden cost of constantly trying to fit in.
It details the operation of the identity filter, how your accent, your name, and your assumed background get there before your actual story does.
And it's a book about a very quiet, very human resilience that speaks to anyone who's ever felt the exhaustion of self-erasure.
Which leads us to a final provocative thought for you to take away. Something that builds on the book's message.
Okay.
If real belonging starts the moment you stop apologizing,
Yeah.
we have to ask, what subtle rituals of self-erasure are you performing right now without even realizing it?
In your emails, maybe?
Or at work? In professional settings, social conversations, even with your family, what are those little ways you sand down your edges just to keep things smooth? And what did it actually look like this week if you just stopped?
That's a powerful challenge. Something to really think about. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.